Now that the elections are ended, I would like to debunk a myth that Republicans are fiscal responsible and capitalists. We know there are many versions of capitalism, there are many things related to capitalism, but the real capitalism in the United States came out probably after the first big depression with FDR, and then after World War II with a lot of programs that had the intention, like the GI Bill and other programs that taxed the rich at 80-90%, and in the same times there were a lot of programs related to healthcare and education, so that the middle class could develop. My idea of capitalism, that is more or less the same idea of America in the 60s and in Europe even today, which is exactly the same, because all the people that talk about Europe, first of all, Europe is not a country, but talking about Europe as a socialist things, probably they have no idea that there was a Western Europe and an Eastern Europe, and they were totally different. They have no idea that in the 60s, for instance, the Western Europe used exactly the Keynesian economics used by the United States. That's the reason why there was a baby boom period in the 60s and the 70s, both in the United States and in this country in Western Europe. You name it: Italy, France, UK, Germany, and so and so and so. And same model used by South Korea, same model used by Japan, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Switzerland, Austria, the Scandinavian countries, and so on. Why, for instance, capitalism is much more effective right now in countries like Australia, like New Zealand, like Canada? Actually, the average income in Canada for the first time is higher than in the United States, or South Korea, or Japan, or in this moment Scandinavia, countries that have been only partially touched by the recession, compared to countries like Italy, UK, Spain, Greece, that they had conservative prime minister. They used austerity and brought down this country, because this country really understand the meaning of capitalism. Capitalism is a mix of providing basic social services for everybody, guaranteed by government. There is a sort of controlled capitalism with regulations that allow practically the development of industries, because regulations, they don't stop the development of industry. Actually, they do the opposite. They create a cleaner and more healthy environment for the employee, so they can produce better, they produce more. And with in the 70s, for instance, the minimum wage was above the poverty level, while today is well below the poverty levels. That's the reason why the minimum wage is not working anymore at that level. It has to grow at least at $12.5 per hour, and that's the reason why we are in food stamp, because we have to compensate this. Otherwise, people cannot live in this country. What America is now practically is a corporate country, in which it's like third world country, a little bit more like it was just before the fascism in Italy, or the Nazism in Germany, or the colonials in South America, in which the top 1%, they earn tons of money, and in a disproportionate respect to what the middle class really earn. Just to give an idea, in the last 15 years, 283% increase in the income of the first 1%, while only 18% increase for the middle class. Not to talk about the salaries of the CEOs in this country, that are 400 times higher than the salaries of the middle class, compared, for instance, to the salaries of other countries that I mentioned before, in which it is maybe 10 times, 20 times, but So the reality is practically that all these countries that allowed, for instance, to have reasonable education cost and healthcare, they can reduce their cost. What's the difference, for instance, between the south of Europe and north of Europe? Uh, is the fact that the Northern Europe is really capitalist in its attitude. They are very entrepreneurial, which means that after you have everything supported and paid when you are a kid, and when you get the education, anybody can get education, you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter, and you're protected in terms of health. At that point, that's the moment in which the real competition starts. That's the moment in which there is a lot of investments, entrepreneurial attitude, investment in new clean energy, in transportation, and so on. There is a big control and also regulations that they guarantee the quality, and they guarantee that people they are not fired, the people that they are not under the minimum wage like here in the United States. So the United States is exactly the opposite right now. We are moving in a direction in which practically the middle class is losing power, and their target in this ridiculous ideas of the American dream is much more like an American nightmare right now, is that you should work your ass off, 2-3 jobs. Why? I mean, why the quality of my life has to be shitty? And when in reality, and we know, just look at American Idol, only 1 out of 10,000 people really succeed, and the other one living in the illusion of the American dream. Because no matter how good you are, the competition is so high that you will not succeed the way you expect you will succeed. So that's the bluff, that's the smoke in the eye. That's the big smoke in the eye. And this is also related to the second part, this is fiscal conservatism. Republicans are not fiscal conservative, because fiscal conservative means practically not that you have to save money. In general, what you do, you save money during the good period, like the ants. You remember the story of the ants compared to the what's the name? I don't remember the name, but anyway, ants that during the summer they save and organize so that during the winter they have the food, they can spend it, they can use it. It's the same concept. When you are in good moment, economic moment, you save money, you start putting money apart so that when the economic moment are gone and you are in a crisis, is the moment you spend, is the moment to invest. So you activate the crisis, you go against the crisis. This is exactly the way it works. That's the reason why austerity in Europe is going down, and you have millions and millions of people demonstrating in the street for this reason. So, and also fiscal conservative, as I said, is a very smart way to invest in people. For me, fiscal conservative is someone that has the ability to give the tools to everybody so they are productive. In this way, you are conservative. In this way, you are in the economical position to be productive and to be balanced, and at the same time is to create a strong economy. You conserve the quality of life of people. That's, for me, is the fiscal part, the most important part. If these people are productive and they have a good quality of life, they will continue to be more and more productive. Also, last but not least, the bullshit about the job creators. There are no job creators. Job creators, they have no interest in this economy to create any job. They want to cut a job because now everything is automated, so they want to reduce the workforce. That's the reason why Obama wants to expand a new sector, a new area, energy and so on, so that people can find jobs, or in areas that have been completely neglected, like, for instance, transportation, high-speed trains, or investment in infrastructure and so on, so that people really can go back to work. Or teachers, because there are 31 million there are 3.7 million jobs available, but 51% of the CEO in these countries, they cannot fill these jobs because they don't find the skills. This is the problem about being fiscal conservative. I feel, as a liberal, that I am much more fiscal conservative than any Republican I met up to now. They waste money, or they don't know how to manage money, they don't know how to manage workforces. That's the problem.